If you'd excuse me, Governor Cuomo doesn't want to take any blame for these nursing home deaths that were totally, absolutely avoidable and totally, absolutely, at least partially, his fault. Let's go to the tape, the story first. Cuomo blames politics as he fails to address the nursing home cover-up admission. If you don't know what this is, well, one of the aides to Governor Cuomo admitted, yeah, you know what? We did lie. We froze over whether to come clean to the legislature about what happened here. What happened? Well, there was some orders from the governor's office to say that people who come from assisted living facilities, if they were diagnosed with COVID-19, you couldn't take them out of there. You had to leave them in there. Or if they went to the hospital, they could go back to the nursing home afterwards if they had COVID-19. This led to a bigger spread through the nursing homes and led to even more problems. And now, finally, the press, which has been so friendly to Governor Cuomo for quite some time, well, mostly his whole career, the press has decided that they are going to turn tail here, and they're asking him some pretty hard questions about this. So, not wanting to take those questions, and with his brother not even willing to, I guess, have him on the show, or maybe they just both want to stay away from this right now, he takes to his daily COVID press conference. And he was once lauded for these. Now he's kind of derided for his presentation being silly. So here he is blaming everybody but himself for this nursing home scandal in New York. Here we go.
If you made these decisions by a poll, none of them would happen, and more people would die. I want to clarify facts on the nursing homes, which has been an ongoing discussion. New York, as everybody knows, was ground zero for COVID, and nursing homes were and still are ground zero for COVID. And losing a loved one is very, very painful. Losing a loved one in a nursing home during this situation was extraordinarily painful. There was no visitation. You couldn't be with the person. You couldn't talk to the person.
He says all this stuff like he had nothing to do with it. How mind-blowing this is in terms of the leftist term gaslighting, I think applies here quite well, where Governor Cuomo is like, wow, this was all pretty terrible, huh? Wonder who the governor was at that time.
Get them on the phone. People in nursing homes are not as conversant and facile on Zooms and on FaceTime. I mean, it doesn't work that way. So I understand fully how difficult it has been, and I want to make sure people have all the facts.
All right, give us the facts.
Information. This past year, there is a toxic political environment, and everything gets politicized, and there's political spin, and then there are facts.
Okay, let's stop for just a second here. Governor Cuomo, who without a shadow of a doubt has received some of the most fawning press coverage of any elected official amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, is claiming that it was a politicized atmosphere that caused this problem, that political spin and not the facts are responsible for his situation. This is a person who cannot take responsibility for their own misdeeds, misgivings, and mistakes. This is a person who screwed this whole thing up and can't even, with his own aides coming out and admitting they froze and didn't want to say anything about these nursing home deaths being worse than the governor admitted to in the numbers. He can't admit it. He's got to say, well, it's a politically charged atmosphere. Not for you, it isn't. It was glowing. The reviews, the coverage, everything you got were glowing, despite the fact that it wasn't a great performance, despite the fact that the guy wrote a book in the middle of this, despite the fact that Governor Cuomo got an Emmy for these very hearings. It all seems silly now, but he still can't admit it.
Two very different things. I just want to make sure people have facts. Last August, Department of Justice sent a letter to Democratic governors, 4 of them, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, asking for information on public nursing homes. New York State Legislature also sent a letter asking for information on nursing homes. We paused the state legislator's request while we were finishing the DOJ request. We told both houses, the Assembly and the Senate, that we had DOJ requests for information and we were prioritizing that. We did give the DOJ request precedence.
Yeah, they said that the entire hearing today, I didn't see the whole thing, was very spin-filled. So let's see what else he has. They said this is a lie. All the deaths in the nursing homes and in the hospitals were always fully, publicly, and accurately reported. The numbers were always what the numbers were, which is just not correct. That's not honest and accurate if that's what Cuomo's saying.
To be clear, all the deaths in the nursing homes and in the hospitals were always fully, publicly, and accurately reported. The numbers were the numbers, always. People did request information beyond the place of death, not just how many in a nursing home, not just how many in a hospital. They did request different categorizations beyond those counts.
You didn't tell them the information.
Who were in a nursing home but then went to a hospital? How many people died who were in a hospital but then went back to a nursing home? How do you count presumed COVID deaths?
And the best way that suits you, if you're Governor Cuomo, that's how you do it. This is all just an attempt to rewrite history. I find it to be absolutely astonishing. Let's get a little more of the press conference. This is where he's saying it was visitors who brought COVID-19 into New York's nursing homes, not those positive patients that he sent back there. All right, I want to make this clear. The frontline workers, the visitors, other people who were at these particular long-term care facilities and assisted living facilities, they were responsible. Now, mind you, for a good portion of the pandemic, nobody was allowed to visit, especially not at these assisted living facilities. They shut down visitation very early on in this. So that kind of wipes that out. Now he's blaming the frontline workers, the workers at the assisted living facilities, instead of himself for putting positive patients, you follow? Positive patients back into the assisted living facility. That's not to blame. That's not what the problem actually was.
Homes. We have 613 nursing homes in the state. 365 received a person from a hospital. Of the 365 that received a person from this March 25th guidance, which was then superseded in May, 98% of those 365 already had COVID in
so what's more COVID?
Facility.
They already had. What's more COVID?
COVID did not get into the nursing homes by people coming from hospitals. COVID got into the nursing homes by staff walking into the nursing home when we didn't even know we had COVID.
How rich.
Staff walking into a nursing home even though they were asymptomatic, because the national experts all told us you could only spread COVID if you had symptoms. And they were wrong. COVID may have been brought into a nursing home because visitors brought it in.
Everybody else but me.
Didn't know they were contagious because the guidance was you can only be contagious if you have symptoms, if you're sneezing, if you're coughing. That turned out to be wrong.
You know what you need? This is what you need, Cuomo, as I wrap this up here today. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you think the media is going to continue to turn against Governor Cuomo? He wants zero responsibility for what happened in the nursing homes in the state of Florida, which is an absolute abomination and a moral failure and a failure of leadership on the part of the governor who got so much great press along the way. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the press will continue pushing against Cuomo? Do you think there'll be investigations that start? What do you think when he goes to take zero responsibility for this? And my favorite thing is if he had a pie chart of who's responsible, Like, that's the only thing that Governor Cuomo didn't do. The who's responsible pie chart, right? And you'd have the healthcare workers, they were responsible. Visitors, they were responsible. Everybody. And there'd be one little sliver, and it would say Governor Cuomo, but still 0%. Not at all responsible. Everybody else around me, even though his aide admitted that they froze and didn't give the correct information to journalists and others trying to figure out what happened in these nursing homes. What are your thoughts? I'm really interested in hearing from you in the comments below. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for following the News Junkie, and we'll talk to you again real soon.